During my trip to Ubisoft Montreal, I learned a ton of new stuff about some future additions to Assassin's Creed Origins, including a new update that will launch at the end of January, and it's supposed to improve the Horde mode. So let's get into it in this video. If you enjoyed that, then a like would be super appreciated, and let's go. Apart from the super interesting studio tour, I by the way got some pictures up on my Instagram at JorRaptor, and we'll have more in the coming days, so totally drop a follow if you haven't already. Anyway, I got to play the Hidden Ones DLC there and also interview two of the developers. yXkAqZLiE, and I hope I pronounced his name right, a game producer over on the game, and Bruno Gurin, and I hope I pronounced his name right as well, responsible for the post-launch strategy. I learned a ton of interesting things, including that there will be a new update at the end of January. It's called Update 1.2.1, and if you follow Assassin's Creed Origins, then you know that a vert dot is pretty rare. We had patch 1.05 in November, 1.1 hit in December, and recently 1.2 in January. So like one big patch each month, but now at the end of January we will have another patch, and while the details are scarce at this point, I do know one thing that will be addressed in this free update. In my interview with Bruno, I touched on the Horde mode and if it's something they want to improve in the future, and well, that seems to be the case and seems to be happening with the next patch, and that patch is of course patch 1.2.1. As Bruno noted that in the next patch they're going to fix one of the biggest issues with this otherwise enjoyable feature. I already made a video on this because everyone that played the unlimited wave based Horde mode hits the same wall, the wave 16 yXkAqZLiE. At that point enemies suddenly have a skull above their head, meaning they are 5 levels higher than you, and your damage against them drastically decreases while they can almost instantly kill you. It's especially hard to dodge the incoming arrows that are hard to track. So yes, it's good to hear that the Horde mode will be improved. Bruno noted that it's not possible to completely get rid of the system, meaning the auto leveling of enemies. So what will happen is that the yXkAqZLiE will be moved to a higher wave, so that you will be able to complete more levels before you are fighting the skull enemies again. It will be interesting to see how far they move the ceiling, when will we see those skull enemies again, but of course what is also happening is that if you hit the new max level of the Hidden Ones DLC, level 45, and later we have a new max level 55 with the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC, then you will also be able to fight longer in the Horde mode simply because you can put up a fight against enemies that have the same level as you. So yes, this is an improvement for sure, but it still means that in the end it is not an unlimited wave-based mode because there is a ceiling no matter what. It was never intended to make the Horde mode the main grinding leveling up function, Jose notes in my interview with him, as I also touched on the Horde mode in that conversation. So that's why there are no plans to add the bosses from the arena into the Horde mode, because then players expect a higher level of reward and they don't want the Horde mode to totally imbalance the game. I can totally see why, then people would just be grinding the Horde mode all day all night to get a ton of XP and a ton of gold. But still, I think that fighting the bosses, as we saw in the post-launch content trailer in this small bit of footage, would be pretty awesome, but it looks like that will not happen. We will have more fun though in the Horde mode thanks to this improvement with the new patch coming at the end of January. And yes, the end of January could mean any day now, or next week, January 29th or January 30th. There will be more additions to that patch as well. When we know more, I will of course let you know. On January 30th, the For Honor content will launch in the Helix store and the outfit will be available in the Ubisoft Club. And if we look at those weapons again, I also touched on that in my interview. The katana we see here, I first thought maybe it's the sickle sword, because we normally don't see two of the same weapon categories in one pack, but no, those are two regular swords. We got one from the samurai, one from the knight, one from the viking, the heavy blade, and also a shield. I will of course go in depth on these weapons when they are available, and maybe this new patch also immediately adds them to the Heka chest like we saw with the Almighty pack as well. Again, I will do a full rundown of that patch when it's live, so totally subscribe to stay up to date on that. I have way more interesting info from my interviews that I will be making videos on in the coming days, so keep an eye out for that. Like this video to support the channel, check my video on a return of an exclusive outfit. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will speak to you next time. Goodbye.